Yo, yo, what's going on out there, YouTube living fools? No updates in a while. There's really not a whole lot left to talk about, really. I mean, the reason I started making a few videos about this is just to let everybody know that this is serious. There's a reason for the lockdowns. It's not fake news. It's not a fake disease. It's not a secret. It's not a secret underground operation to rescue the victims of pedophilia, where the liberal elite keep these small children uh, in underground tunnels. Yes, that's a good one. It's not 5G either. I'm pretty sure about that. But it is serious, and it does have a high death rate. We don't know how high, but it's pretty fucking high, and it's worthy of lockdowns. And we're seeing the lockdowns are extremely effective. So, I mean, I got some numbers here. Back in, let's see, March 25th, I said April 10th, we'd be at 2,000 deaths per day in the U.S. That was the first day we hit 2,000. I said we'd be, I thought, 3,000 deaths per day by April 15th. So it was growing, it was doubling every 4 to 5 days. So if it was at 2,000 on the 10th, I'm recording this on April 15th, it didn't jump to 4,000. So I think that's really good news that there's just a dramatic slowing of the death rate that just seemed to happen to stop on a dime. The new cases, I don't put a whole lot of stock and faith in the new cases, but gives you some indication of what's going on, and that's just the growth there has come to an abrupt halt. One day it was jumping 4,000 more than the day before, then all of a sudden, total stop. I just wanted to talk about the question that everybody has in their mind is kind of like, how long does this last? How long does this go on for? I think Italy is a good reference. Everybody looks at Italy for too many things, I suppose. But there was a breakout there earlier. It's not China, so we trust the data a little bit more. And, I think it's pretty interesting what you can see there. So if we look at Italy, you see there was a peak in their daily new cases on March 21st. And you can see it's very slowly unwinding. It's not like, they had, let's see, their peak was 6,557. That was the most they had in a single day of new cases. And they've been able to cut that back, more than half, but that took almost, we're at 3.5 weeks after that date. We're already at 25 days here, and still a lot of new cases coming out. This is another good graph here is the number of active cases. So it's still increasing. So we're at 105,418 the day before. Is about 1,200 less. The day before that is about 800 or 600 less. The day before that is about 1,300 less. So the number of active cases is still climbing. So that's, I think, a key indicator is we want to know from the peak of the daily new cases to the point where the number of active cases actually starts to reverse and go in the other direction. How long does that take? Well, in Italy, it looks like it's going to take over a month. And so that's probably what you're looking at in the United States is over a month. I think we just reached it, within the last week. So we'll say maybe April 10th, roughly, is the peak in new cases in the United States. And so you got to figure it's going to be at least May 10th before we reach a peak in active cases. Currently adding 30,000 new cases a day. That's probably going to drop, in half over the next few weeks. But, in that time, we're going to get well over 1 million cases. And the active cases on May 10th, where the peak is, it's going to be over 1 million active cases. So look for May 10th to be about the peak. Now, in my videos, starting early on, I was saying my plan was, get my last deliveries at April 6th so that I could go a prolonged period of time without really having anything come into my house or me go into any other building, having to go to the grocery store. You didn't want to have to go out and interact when there's a peak in the virus. So the peak is going to be basically, Dr. Birx from the U.S., Dr. Fauci's right-hand woman or whatever, on April 6th, the very same day I said was my target date for cutting off all deliveries. She said April 6th, that the following 2 weeks is a time where you want to try to avoid going anywhere, including the grocery store, because she was expecting that to be kind of peak activity. Well, it's not going to be 2 weeks from April 6th. It's going to be at least until May 10th until it peaks. And then after it peaks, it's going to be several more weeks before it comes back to where it is now. So I would say the peak would be from April 6th, probably well into June, probably June 5th, June 10th. It's going to be, if we look at the active cases in the U.S. on April 5th, let's say, they're probably not going to be back to that level until June 5th. And so that would be a 60-day period where you're not trying to really limit your activity and your interaction, because that's the time when there's the most infected people out there. And so that was kind of my strategy. And the official people are coming out and saying something similar, but obviously softening it because they can't say, oh, hey, lockdowns are going to be for 6 months. People would freak out. But I do think we're in for a very long period of time. This is just going to take a long time to unwind. We couldn't contain the virus when there are 1,000 active cases. The idea that we're going to open up the economy when there's 1 million active cases and be able to contain and control the spread then because of testing, I'm not really buying that. So I think you need to get into a good mental state and be ready to be really patient and be ready for this to last well into summer. That's what I'm doing. And, we'll get through this. It's kind of interesting that, the efforts that we're putting in collectively, it's really slowed down the growth globally. The new cases have reached kind of a peak. The death rate has just slowed tremendously, which is, really great to see. I mean, there's so many positive things, and I feel like, we world, we're winning the war against coronavirus. It's pretty awesome. Maybe, just maybe, we can realize that we can work together. What a concept, amongst nations and actually conquer big pressing problems. I don't know why we don't do this to even bigger problems like poverty, which kills, sends 20 million plus people to an early grave every year, all over the world. I don't know why we can't tackle something like poverty with a big collective effort working together. Or, obviously environmental concerns and environmental stewardship in general. Those are the two big ones. If we could do this for a virus, I hope we could maybe figure out a way to work together a little bit better on some of the bigger issues. I don't know. We'll see. But anyway, I'm not really sitting around refreshing stats every 5 minutes anymore, trying to wrap my head around this, calculate or project this. I think we've all got a pretty firm understanding of where we are, where it's headed. It is going to take a while to get through all this stuff, and just enjoy the media circus in the meantime. So pretty much all positive things, I guess, to report, other than I think it's going to last. There's going to be a corona hangover that's going to last a really long time. This is the only thing that really concerns me, is the news reports that have come out about South Korea seeing the rise in reactivated coronavirus patients. Okay, so people tested positive for coronavirus, had it for a while, tested negative several times, were released and discharged, and then later on showed up with coronavirus again. First of all, we don't know exactly what's going on. We have no idea. There's only speculation. So you don't have to, assume the worst here. One scenario is that their immunity to coronavirus just isn't very good. It doesn't hold up. They could have encountered another strain. That could be one thing. Another strain hit them, and they got a different variety of coronavirus. It was just lying dormant in their bodies, maybe in their digestive tract, and then it was able to reinfect them later on. Pretty horrifying, but that's one possibility. And then there's the faulty testing beliefs. Perhaps it was a false positive. They were tested to have coronavirus, but maybe they didn't actually have coronavirus. And then when later they tested positive for coronavirus, it looked like they had it and then had it again, but maybe they were just having it for the first time. It's really hard to say, but this concerns me a lot because this is pretty much game over if coronavirus operates like a malaria or something, where it's, gets into your system, and once it does, you're just going to have repeated bouts of it again and again for life. You're going to become contagious every time that it reactivates. That would be a serious doomsday scenario. That would be game, set, match. Humans would gonna have to just take that L and award coronavirus the champion of all diseases. If in fact, it can just reactivate, and I don't know. We're facing a big mess if something like that happens. That's the only thing that's on my radar as being potentially this being worse than it currently looks. So anyway, hope you guys are enjoying yourselves, finding a way to amuse yourselves. Hope you got some income somehow coming in some way, and you're holding up all right. Peace.